Hello everyone. In this video we're going to look at this paper, grade 4 business paper 1, September 2024. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so this is our first section. This is a multiple choice first section. This section is compulsory when you're writing it in an exam. So question 1, various options are provided as possible answers to the following questions. Choose the answer and write only the letter A to D. Okay, so let's look at question 1. 1.1. This act ensures that transformation takes place in the workplace through the implementation of affirmative action. So the correct answer here for this one is C, as you can see here. We've got C as our answer. And then the next question, Villa transporters operate in dash sector as they deliver raw materials to ABC manufacturers. Okay, so this question is a bit tricky because we are told here that Villa transporters operate in dash sector as they deliver raw materials. So if they say they deliver raw materials, it seems like they are providing raw materials, but that's not the case. They are delivering. So what the Villa transporters are doing here is to provide a service. So this becomes tertiary sector. Once they are providing this service, it's not now about the primary sector. The primary sector is responsible for providing raw materials, but this is a service that they are providing. So this is already tertiary sector. So the answer here is D for this one. I hope that's understandable. The next one, Jimmy Motor Spares implemented the dash integration strategy when they bought Sky Car Parts manufacturers. So Jim Motor Spares, it means this company is responsible for providing motor spares. That's what it means. So they are going to buy a company which is car parts manufacturer, which means this company used to provide them, or it provides them with motor spares. So when you buy a company that is providing you with something, that is backward integration. That is backward integration. That's why the answer is C here. But if you're going to buy a company that you are providing, or that you are providing with them, it could be raw materials or anything, your products that you produce, and then you provide them with those products. That will be forward integration. So this is backward because you are buying a company that provides you with something. Okay, so the next one is number 4. Mensi Pty Limited uses dash procedure when conducting interviews to identify the most suitable applicants. So this one, with selection, induction, recruitment. So this is the selection procedure. That's what we use when you want to look, when you're looking for the best candidate to employ. And then 1.1.5, this function is responsible for ensuring that products meet customers' requirements by being safe, reliable, and durable. Okay, so the department that is responsible for ensuring that the products meet customer requirements, it is the department that makes those products. It's not the marketing, it's not the financial, but it's the production. These are the ones that make the product. So they are going to make the product according to customer requirements, and they make sure those products are safe to use and are reliable. So the answer for this one is D. And let's look at the next question, 1.2. This is the section where you have to fill the gaps. You are given a list of terms here, and you need to fill the gaps that you are given. I know we are familiar with this. The first one here says, an employee qualifies for dash leave of 3 days when his or her child is sick. So this is family responsibility leave, because it's the family. When your child is sick, you need to take care of that. It's your family. Your child or your spouse is part of your family. If they are sick, you get this family responsibility leave. You don't get a sick leave. You get given a sick leave if you as a person, as an individual, you personally, you're sick, that's when you get a sick leave. But if it's someone else that is part of your family, you get your family responsibility leave. And the next one, Frankfurt compiled a dash analysis when they examined their internal environment. So this one is straightforward. That's the SWOT analysis. So remember, this is where you evaluate your strength, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. All right. So this one was straightforward. And then 1.2.3, Goldie Jewelries use the dash salary determination methods when they pay their employees for each design completed. So this type of payment is used when you are considering the number of items or products or the number of units that someone is going to produce. It's like you pay someone on commission kind of a thing. So this one is piecemeal. That's the name of this method. Because here they say when they pay their employees for each design completed. Let's look at 1.2.4. Tasco Limited uses Quality Dash to ensure that the finished products meet the required standards. So this is quality control. This is where our control is. So that's the answer for this one. And then 1.2.5, the Dash function is responsible for implementing sustainable corporate social investment programs. So this is the public relations. That's the only one that we are given here. All right, so let's move on to 1.3. So this is another section of section A, where you have to match the description and the definitions that you are given here. So which description here best describes these phrases that you are given? So the first one here, Black economic empowerment. Black economic empowerment. So the answer here is I. Benefited only a few previously disadvantaged people in the economy. That's why there was another one as well that was implemented, which is BBBEE, broad-based black empowerment, economic empowerment. So this one could not promote everyone or could not benefit all the previously disadvantaged people in the economy. And then the second one, 1.3.2, market development. So in other words, you're looking for the definition of what you're given here. What is market development? Or a statement that best describes what you are given here. So market development, we're looking at this one here. That's the statement that describes it better. Restructure different pricing policies to cater to consumer income levels. So you're actually trying to develop your market. And then 3.3, retirement. In other words, what is retirement? The employment contract is terminated because of age. When someone leaves their job because they are old, they can't work anymore, they've reached a stipulated age that they must stop working, you retire. So the correct answer for this one is H. And then job specification, remember these are the qualifications that someone is required to have for them to qualify for the job. And we do this in human resources management. So job specification here, let's see the statement that best describes it. Describes the minimum acceptable personal skills needed for a job. So the answer is J for this one. And 3.5, total quality management. This one aims at satisfying the needs of consumers and improving business processes. So the answer is A here. So that's it for section A. And let us look at section B. So under normal circumstances, we are required to answer any 2 questions from this section. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to look at all of them. So the first part of the section B is question 2. List 4 rights of consumers according to the Consumer Protection Act. Okay, so this is A very good question, because it's easy. You just need to list right to choose, right to privacy. So all these are consumer rights according to the Consumer Protection Act. Right to privacy, right to fair and honesty in business dealings, right to disclosure and information, which means businesses, when they produce their products, that's why you see on the packaging that they're going to provide you with all the information that you need to know about the product, what they used to make the product, the ingredients that they used, or the other elements that are in that product. It could be types of nutrients that are in there, carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, etc., etc. So all those things, they're supposed to be known. So that's why it says here the right to disclosure and information. When you buy something, you have the right to know everything that you need to know about the product. The right to fair and responsible marketing, the right to fair value, good quality and safety, the right to accountability. So you could have chosen any 4 of these and then got all your 4 marks. Let's look at 2.2 and the role of setters in supporting the Skills Development Act, SDN. Okay, so let's look at their role here. So normally their role, it is to manage and organize training of the training companies, the companies that are going to train employees. So they are responsible for making sure that they are legit companies and to make sure that everything is done properly. So these are some of the roles that they do here, that they have developed sector skill plans and in line with the National Skills Development Strategy, draw out skills development plans for their specific economic sector, approve workplace skill plans and annual training reports, allocate grants to employers, education and training providers, exactly, and monitor, evaluate. So we've got quite a number of those. So we just needed 6, if not 3, because it's 2 marks for each. So just 3 of these would have earned you 6 marks. So feel free to pause the video and go through some of these points. Let's look at question 2.3. Read the following scenario below and answer the questions that follow. Pitts Motor Parts specializes in the selling of genetic motor parts. In the Eastern Cape, they realized that their business was in trouble because of a drop in sales. They terminated the employment contracts of some of their workers. PM, which is Pitts Motors, are aware that they can also implement other defensive strategies in the future. So identify the type of defensive strategy used by PM in the scenario above. Motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario. Okay, so here they say they terminated the employment contracts. So when you terminate people's contracts, that's retrenchment. That's retrenchment. So that's the defensive strategy that this company used. And your motivation, you just take this statement as it is. They terminated the employment contracts of some of their workers. So that's the motivation. So that's what you can do, as they have done here. Retrenchment, and then you write your motivation. You don't need to change it, to rephrase it. You just take it as it is from this scenario and write it down. And then explain one other defensive strategy. So we've got multiple defensive strategies. Here they gave us this one, divestiture. So this is when you sell off a division or a product line with slow growth potential, right? You are selling some part of your ownership or some part of your business if they are not performing very, very well. Paying off debts by selling unproductive assets, exactly. If you've got assets that are obsolete or that you are not really using, you can sell those assets. That's another defensive strategy. You can sell those assets to raise more money, and then withdrawing or divesting their investment share in another business. So this is another defensive strategy, selling some assets divisions are not profitable. We know that companies might have a lot of assets or other divisions, other branches. If there are other branches that are not profitable, you can close those branches, right? Or if you've got assets that you're not using anymore, you can sell those assets. So that's divestiture. It's a way, it's a defensive strategy. It's a way you can, it's a method you can engage to survive. And then we have liquidation. So liquidation is when you sell all assets to pay off creditors due to lack of capital, inability to repay creditors. Selling the entire business to pay shareholders a fair price for their shares. So normally you do this when you are actually closing the business because you can't operate it anymore. You are not making profits. So in order for you to pay all the debts that you have, to pay your creditors, you end up selling everything that you have, your assets, and also to pay the shareholders their fair price. Allowing creditors to apply for forced liquidation to have their claims settled. So this is another one that you can write. So they just needed one here to explain one of these two, and then you get your 3 marks. Let's look at discuss the rights of employees according to the Labor Relations Act. So rights of employees according to the Labor Relations Act. Employees may join a trade union of their choice, right? So that's your right as an employee. You're free to join any trade union of your choice. It's not illegal, it's actually legal. You're permitted to do that by the Labor Relations Act. And also to request trade union representatives to assist or represent employees in grievance or disciplinary hearing. In the event that something happens, you are in trouble, you can actually request a trade union representative to represent you. So they're like a lawyer, they're like your lawyer, something like that. And also trade union representatives will take reasonable time off work with pay to attend trade union duties. So if someone, an employee, is part of the trade union, it is actually legal, they are allowed to actually attend or to take some time off their regular work to attend trade union matters. They are allowed to do that by this act. It is their right to do that. Embark on legal strikes and as a remedy of grievances. So you're actually allowed to strike. It's your right as a worker to strike. And also refer unresolved workplace disputes to the CCMA. Refer unresolved CCMA disputes to the Labour Court on Appeal. Establish a work forum where business has 100 or more employees to resolve work-related issues. So these are some of the rights of employees according to the Labor Relations Act. Let's look at number 2.5. Advise businesses on how to apply the threat or barriers of new entrants to the market as a force of Porter's 5 forces model to analyze their position in the market. Okay, so how do you apply a threat of new entrants to the market as a force of Porter's 5 forces? Okay, so to analyze that, you need to look at your business, right? To see whether there's a high threat of new entrants. Is it a profitable business? If your business is highly profitable, it's highly likely that other people or other businesses or other investors might want to get into that same field. So that's the first thing. That's what you just need to do. You look at your business. If it's highly profitable, it may attract more competitors. So already you are going to see your position. You're going to see the chances of having more competitors in that field. And also if the barriers of entry in the market are low, like there's nothing much that someone needs in order for them to start the same business. It also means that there's a high threat that you might have competitors, you might have more competitors. So that's another thing. So you look at the barriers of entry, are they high or low? And then you look at the profitability of your business. Is it highly profitable? If it's highly profitable, then there's a huge threat. And then new competitors can quickly or easily enter the market if it takes little time or money to do so. So this is about the capital that someone needs in order to start that same business or that line of business that you're operating. If they don't really need a lot of money, it means it's easy for people to invest in that business. So the chances of having high there, it's actually there. If there are only few traders but many buyers in the market, it will also be an easy enter. It will be easy to enter the market. So if there are few traders but many buyers, that's going to attract investment, because some people will see that, okay, we can actually go and invest in this business because there are just few people there operating in this line of trade. So this is how you apply this threat of new entry. This is how you apply to analyze whether there's a big threat or there's no threat of new entry. All right, so the next one is a scenario. Read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. All right, so Cheetah Bank, CD. Cheetah Bank provides money-related services to their clients. They allow clients to deposit and borrow money. They are registered with the National Credit Regulator. Cheetah Bank always provides their customers with reasons when credit is refused. CB also train their staff on their obligations in terms of FICA. So the first question is, quote 2 ways that CB complies with the National Credit Act from the scenario above. Okay, so the first one is they are actually registered with National Credit Regulator. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is they also train their staff. Here, CB also train their staff on their obligations in terms of FICA. So these are the two things that shows that they're actually complying with the National Credit Act. Let's look at the next question. Discuss the positive impact of the National Credit Act on the business. All right, so the National Credit Act, it is actually there to establish rules that govern the giving of credits, right? With regard to everything that pertains to the credit giver and also the clients, right? So when you go and borrow money from the bank, for example, as a person, you also have rights, right? And also the bank that is giving you that credit has got rights as well. So the National Credit Act is there to provide guidance or to give these rights. So, for example, a person who doesn't deserve to be given a credit, the bank has got legal power to not give, or legal right to not give that person a credit if they don't deserve, if they don't have the capacity to pay it back. So it's like a form of protection from bad debts, for example. Like here, lower bad debts resulting in better cash flow. You're not going to end up giving everyone money because you are allowed not to give people who do not deserve or who do not have the capacity to pay it back. And then it protects businesses against non-paying customers. That's another thing, which is the same point that we have here, but it's just being rephrased. Authorized credit providers may attract more customers. So these are positive impact. This is positive impact. And the advantages of the National Credit Act leads to more customers through credit sales, as they are now protected from abuse, prevents reckless lending, and prevents businesses from bankruptcy. So that's another thing. Because as a business, you'll be able to give only those people that have the capacity to pay you back, which means you don't really run out of money because the people that you are giving are going to pay you back your money. It also increases cash sales, as credit can only be granted to qualifying customers, customers are buying in cash. So that's another thing. If there are strict rules about giving people money that qualify, it means those people who don't qualify, they won't go for credit because they're not going to be given a credit. They will be forced to buy with cash. So you're going to have an increase in cash sales if there are strict rules like this. The whole credit process is transparent as both businesses and customers know their responsibility. So that's another advantage. So there is more that you can look at. Let's look at the next question. Explain the steps in strategy evaluation. Steps in strategy evaluation. Okay, so the first one is examine the underlying basis of the business strategy. So then look forward and backward into the implementation process. You're going to see what you've done so far after implementing a strategy, what you did when you implemented it, and what you expect in the future that strategy to achieve or to accomplish. Compare the expected performance with the actual performance. Remember, when you are evaluating, you are looking at what you wanted against what is actually happening. So that's what is actually, that is what is basically happening here. The expected performance with the actual performance. Did you achieve what you wanted to achieve when you implemented this strategy? Determine the reasons for deviations. If there are deviations, or let's say you did not achieve what you wanted, what are the possible reasons for that? And analyze these reasons. So all this is part of strategy evaluation. Take corrective action so that deviations may be corrected. Set specific dates for control and follow up. Draw up a table of advantages and disadvantages of the strategy. Decide on the desired outcome that will result in the achievement of business goals. So consider the impact of the strategic implementation in the internal and external environments. So these are the steps that you must take when evaluating a strategy. And then 2.8, ways in which businesses can deal with challenges that are posed by social factors of the still analysis factor. So remember, social factors, we are talking about people, the problems that people are facing. For example, lack of income, poverty, etc., language barrier, etc. So ways in which businesses can deal with these challenges: they have to sell substitute products at lower prices due to low income levels or distribution, employ people from the local community. Okay, so that's how you deal with this issue. If people have got this challenge of low income, they don't really have a lot of money, you also have to adjust your prices, right? That's why here they say sell substitute products at lower prices, right? And also try to employ the local community so that you can improve their income as well. Learn local languages, because they could be a problem if people don't understand the issue that I've mentioned of language barrier. So employ local people who can understand the local language, or hire employees who are well conversant with the local language, who understand the language in that area that you want to open a business. Businesses must be well conversant with the demands, trends of their customers. So this is how some of the ways you can deal with the issue of the social factors as a perceived analysis factor. All right, let's move on to question 3. All right, so the first one here, state any 3 aspects that should be included in an employment contract. So this is a question. There is a lot of things that you can write in an employment contract. Details of the employer, such as the name and address, personal details of the employee, job title, job description, job specification, hours of work, such as normal time and overtime. So there is a lot here guys, that you can consider. They just needed 3. So feel free again to pause the video and go to these points. And don't forget as well to like this video and subscribe so that others as well can watch it. Listen. Outline the role of the interviewer before the interview. Okay, so what is the duty of the interviewer, the person who's going to ask questions, right? What is their role? They should book and prepare the venue for the interview. It is their job to do that. Inform all shortlisted candidates about the date and place of the interview, and also set the interview date and ensure that the interviews take place on the same day if possible. Notify all panel members. So panel members, these are people who are going to be part of the interview, who will also participate or maybe ask questions there, because normally interviews are not done by one person, but there is always one person who's going to prepare everything, the set of questions, the venue, and everything. So this person will inform other panel members that are conducting the interview about the date and the place of the interview. The interviewer should also develop a core set of questions based on skills, knowledge, ability required. You check and read application, verify the CV of each and every candidate for anything that may need to be explained, and then you plan the program of the interview, determine the time that should be allocated to each candidate. So these are the duties of the interviewer, or the role of the interviewer. And then 3.3, royal logistics. Okay, so royal logistics is vacancies for a cashier and a warehouse manager. Royal logistics prepare a job analysis and designed an advertisement. The business said has advertised these vacancies on social media. So the first question is, identify the type of recruitment used by Royal Logistics in the scenario above and motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario. So identify the type of recruitment. Okay, so this is external recruitment, because already we can see here that the business is advertised the vacancies on social media. So this is not something that is happening internally. Social media is outside. So you're looking for someone external. So that's external recruitment that is happening here. And your motivation is this statement here. The business has advertised these vacancies on social media. So that's your motivation. That's it. Take it as it is. And then the next one, evaluate the impact of the type of recruitment identified in this question here. So the impact of external recruitment. So impact could be positive or also negative. So you're going to list both the positive impact and the negative impact. So these are other terms that they use for advantages and disadvantages. So what are the advantages or positive impact of external recruitment? So new candidates bring new talent, ideas, experience, and skills into the business. So that's an advantage. Take someone from outside, they are going to bring something new, something that we haven't seen before. So some people say it's better than taking someone who has already been working at your company, because they are not going to bring something new to the company. So they see this as an advantage when something new comes into the company. It also helps businesses to meet affirmative action and BBBEE targets. There is a large pool of candidates to choose from. Okay, so the chances of getting the best, one of the best employees are high, because you're choosing from a large pool. When you're employing people from outside, a lot of people are going to apply, and there's a high chance that you have one of the best employees. And then there is a better chance of getting suitable candidates with the required skills. Exactly. When you employ someone internally, sometimes a person or people that are already working there might not have the exact requirements that you're looking for. But when you look for someone outside, there's a lot of people there. The chances are so high that you get the person that you are really, really looking for. And then minimizes conflict amongst current employees who may have applied for the post. So by employing someone externally, there's not going to be a conflict because you have not taken someone who was already working there. Because by taking someone who's already working at the company, if there are more people that have applied, that's going to create a conflict if you choose one and leave others out. So basically, that's the point they're trying to make here. So these are some of the advantages. Let's look at disadvantages. The possibility that the selection process is not effective and the wrong candidate is chosen. So there is this possibility that you might choose the wrong candidate. External sources can be expensive, such as recruitment agencies, fees, advertising, newspapers. So that's another disadvantage, that if you are going to use external sources, if you are going to use recruitment agencies, for example, to give you someone, a candidate, they're going to charge you a lot of money. So it could be expensive for the business to do that. Many unsuitable applications can slow down the selection process. Yeah, this is always the case. Some people will want to try their luck, even if they don't have the qualification, the requirements that are needed. They will still try to apply, hoping that maybe it might be their day and then they get employed. So the process of selection, like you have to make sure that you have to scratch others, it's going to delay the process because there will be a lot of CVs, a lot of applicants. And information on CVs from referees may not be reliable. Some people lie about their qualifications, about their references. So all these things, it's difficult now to know what is true, especially when you're taking people from outside. The recruitment process takes longer as background checks must be conducted. It takes longer and it's expensive because you need to call these people. All those costs, time that you're going to take, that's going to slow down the whole process. So that's why it's a disadvantage. External recruitment may limit promotion opportunities that could lead to resentment among employees. So these are some of the negatives and or disadvantages of external recruitment. Let's look at the next question, which is 3.4. Okay, discuss the link between salary determination and the basic condition of employment act. So what is the link between these two? Okay, so the basic conditions of employment act sets out conditions that ensure fair labor and human resources practices. So what they are trying to say here is that the issue of salary determination, right, is also addressed by basic conditions of employment, because you have to give someone a salary that is fair, for example. So the salary determination method that you're going to choose has to be in line with what the basic conditions of employment says. So businesses may use different remuneration methods to pay their employees, and payment of salaries should be based on whether the employee is permanent or employed on a fixed contract. And businesses are supposed to deduct income tax from the employees' tax salaries. And BCEA outlines legalities such as the employment contract, which may affect salary determination. So again, your employment contract is going to stipulate the method, that the remuneration method that is going to be used, and as a business, the business should follow that. All right, let us move on to the next one, 3.5. Elaborate on the meaning of quality performance. So quality performance, total performance of each department measured against specified standards. Remember, when companies are manufacturing things, right, they've got standards that they would want to meet. So quality performance is when you are going to measure the outcome, the products, against the specified standards that you set for yourself as a business. That's quality performance. So it can be obtained if all departments work together towards the same quality standards. If you are all on board, you are all aware of the quality standards that you need to meet, you can achieve it. And quality is measured through physical products. So this is the end product. After producing your products, you measure whether they meet the set standards that you set for yourselves. Let us move on to 3.6. It's a scenario. Exceller Removers specializes in the removal of furniture across the Eastern Cape. Exceller Removers uses data to evaluate the results of the change in processes. With the help of quality circles, they ensure that they deliver quality services to their customers. So this is, name the steps of the PDCA cycle used by Exceller Removers in the scenario above. So this is check or analyze. The fact that they said with the help of quality, what is it? ER, which is Exceller Removers, uses data to evaluate. That's analyze here. Evaluate the results of the change in the processes. So that's the answer for this one. And then 3.6.2, explain the roles of the quality circles as part of the continuous improvement of processes and systems. So what is the roles of quality circles? Let's look at what we've got here. Quality circles solve problems related to quality and implement improvements. So that is one of the roles of quality circles, to investigate problems and suggest solutions to management, and also to ensure that there is no duplication of activities, tasks in the workplace. So quality circles, they are meant to solve these small problems, which means as a company, you don't really need to wait for when you're going to have a end of month general meeting. These are the meetings that you can have as a group of employees, and then you come up with short-term solutions to the problems that you are currently facing, probably in the manufacturing department, etc. So to make suggestions for improving systems and processes in the workplace, to improve quality of products, services, productivity through regular reviews of quality processes. So all these are the roles of quality circles: increase employee morale and motivation, to boost team spirit in achieving organizational goals, etc. So feel free to pause the video and go through all of them. And again, if you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe and like the video. Okay, so we have plenty of them here. Yeah, go through them. They just needed 4 here, and then you would get your 4 marks. 3.7, discuss the quality indicators of marketing function. So in other words, they are saying, how do we see that the marketing function is doing their job correctly or is achieving their goals? How do we see if it's a quality, if it's a good marketing, if it's being run properly? So using aggressive advertising campaigns to sustain or increase market share. Winning customers. When you start winning customers, when you see there are more customers coming, it is a sign that the marketing department or function is doing their job properly, because they are going to advertise, they are doing their job, they are advertising, they are convincing customers that come and buy our product. Okay, so winning customers by satisfying their needs and wants, building positive relationships, adhere to advertising practices when promoting product services, identifying competitive advantage. So they are going to do this to focus, improve on marketing strength, differentiating products to attract more customers. So all these things are signs that the marketing department is doing their job properly. Communicating effectively with customers to get feedback about their experiences of the products sold or services rendered, coordinating distribution with the production and advertising strategies, using pricing techniques to ensure a competitive advantage. For example, putting products on sale or on promotion, etc. And constantly reviewing value issues, determining gaps between customer expectations and actual experiences so that problems or unhappiness may be diagnosed and addressed, making adjustments and changes to products or services based on feedback from customers of market research. So all these things are signs that the marketing function is actually good, it's doing their job properly. And then 3.8, what does it say? Recommend ways in which total quality management can reduce the cost of quality. So we've got plenty again, just did 4 marks. So introduce quality cycles, that's another thing. Who meet regularly to discuss ways of improving the quality of their work, right? So that's another way total quality management can reduce the cost of quality. Schedule activities to eliminate duplication of tasks. Share responsibility for quality output amongst management and workers. Train employees at all levels so that everyone understands their role in quality management. Develop work systems that empower employees to find new ways of improving quality. Work closely with suppliers to improve the quality of raw materials. That's another one. Improve communication about quality challenges, deviations, so that everyone can learn from experiences. Reduce investment on expensive but ineffective inspection procedures in the production process. So all these things, a company can do that, or total quality management can do it to reduce the cost of quality. Okay, on to number 4. 4.1. So this is name 4 pillars of broad-based black empowerment. All right, so this is a good question again. So we just needed 4. So management control, ownership, enterprise and supply development, skills development. So if you look at these are the things that are needed to be addressed, right? The disadvantaged people, they also needed to have a part in management and also ownership of companies. Their skills needed to be developed, etc. So we just needed 4 of these to get the 4 marks here. And then 4.2, outline advantages of diversification strategies. So what are the advantages of diversification strategies? Increase sales or income and business growth. So I want you to know that when you are diversifying, right, you are actually opening more businesses, for example, different types of businesses. You are not just focusing on one line of trade. You are producing something that is different from your original or your natural line of trade. So that's diversification. You are trying other new lines of business. So what are the advantages of doing that? Let's say you were producing electronic gadgets and then you start to move on to clothes. You're now producing clothes. What are the advantages of doing that? The first one is you're going to increase your sales. There's going to be an increase in income and your business is going to grow because you now have different things that you're producing. It also improves the business's brand image or brand awareness of the business. Like a lot of people are going to know about you because you now produce a lot of things. And then it reduces the risk of relying only on one product or sales or income or one income. Remember, we said you are now opening another line of business. You're producing something. You don't just depend on one product, but now there's another type of product that can actually give you money. Which means if this one fails, you have another one to lean on. Businesses gain more technological capabilities. That's another thing, through product modification. Sustained profitability from different product lines during times of fluctuating economic activity. So in other words, what it means is if there is another business that is struggling, the other one that is profitable can actually chip in to help the struggling one. Businesses produces more output using less inputs, as one factory may be used to manufacture more products. Enables businesses to retain their competitive advantage by meeting the needs of current or new customers. Expanding into new unexpected markets allows businesses to remain relevant in a dynamic business environment. So that's another thing. You remain relevant. If you see that, okay, people don't like this type of product anymore, you go to the different one, to another one that you think people nowadays, they want this. So you remain relevant in this changing, ever-changing world. And then it also enables business to establish additional markets in unrelated market industries. So there is a lot that you could write here. And then let's move on to 4.3. It's a scenario. CFO's Garden Service. CFO's Garden Service offers garden services to residential and commercial clients. They struggled to find a reliable provider for the machinery needed. Employees are often late for work. A decrease in the income levels of their clients, resulting in lower profitability. So there's a lot that is going on here. Quote 2 challenges for CFO's Garden from the scenario above. So they are facing challenges here. The first one is they struggled to find a reliable provider of the machinery. That's the thing. That's another challenge. Another one is employees are often late for work. A decrease in the income levels of their clients, resulting in lower profitability. So this one is another based on the last statement here. That's another challenge, right? So remember, these are the questions that you're gonna get a table like this, and then you need to put challenges here, and then you write the environment and the extent of control that the business have over that environment. So let's look at the challenges we've mentioned. We've mentioned 3 challenges, which are the ones that they have here. They struggled to find a reliable provider. So it's a challenge. So this challenge is in which environment? It is the market environment, because this is not something that is inside, that is internal. So it's outside the market. The reason why we say it's market is you don't really have control over it. Like, you have a certain degree of control. You can look for someone that can provide you, but you don't really have that much control over it. Let me just put it that way. So the extent of control, they've limited, as I've said, limited or partial or less or little control over the market environment. That's what it, otherwise, if they had absolute control over it or total control over it, they wouldn't have this problem. They could have solved this problem. And then another challenge here that we mentioned is employees are often late for work. So this is something that is happening internally. So the environment is micro environment, because it's happening within the business. And we know that as long as it's something that is happening within the business, the company has full control over it. You have complete control over your internal environment. And then the last one, a decrease in income levels of their clients, resulting in lower profitability. It's a challenge, and it's a macro environment, because we have no control over it at all. There's nothing you can do with a challenge in the macro environment. So there's no control here. So this is what was needed for this question. Let's move on to 4.4. Recommend ways that a business can comply with the Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Amendment Act, COIDA. Ways a business can comply. Businesses should provide a healthy and safe working environment. I think that you are complying with COIDA. Register with the Compensation Commissioner and provide the particulars of the business. You must keep records of employees' income and details of work for 4 years. Obliged to report all incidents causing death, injuries of employees. So all these things are that's what the business can do to comply with COIDA. Businesses should submit report of earnings by no later than 1 March annually. Levies must be paid to the compensation fund. Ensure that the premises or equipment machinery is in good working condition. Should allow regular assessment of the workplace by inspectors in order to determine the level of risk the employees are exposed to. Employers may not make deductions for COIDA from the business remuneration packages. So all these are the ways in which a business can comply with COIDA. Let's look at 4.5. Outline the placement procedure. So the placement procedure, businesses should outline the specific abilities, expectations of skills of the new position. So in other words, you are putting the right people in the right positions. That's the placement procedure, making sure that the right positions are occupied by the rightful people with the required applications or qualifications. Determine the successful candidate's strength, weaknesses, interests by selecting him or her to a range of psychometric tests. Determine the relationship between the position and competencies of the new employee. 4.6. Explain unemployment insurance fund, UIF, is a compulsory benefit required by law. So what is the unemployment insurance fund? So this is the money that a person, when they are working, they should contribute towards, just in case if they get unemployed, they will be able to get something from it. Like they will be able to sustain their life temporarily before they find another job. So that's what we are required to explain here. Employers must pay unemployment insurance contributions of 2% of the value each worker's salary a month. The employer and the worker each contributes 1%. So as an employer, you're not just gonna get money after being unemployed. You have to contribute towards it while you are still working. As they have said here, like you have to contribute 1% of your salary every month. So when you get paid at the end of the month, this money is deducted from your salary. The fund also assists the dependents of a contributing worker who has died. So if you die at work, right, and you have kids, those people can benefit from this money. They should get something from it. The fund offers short-term finance to workers when they become unemployed or are unable to work due to illness, maternity, or adoption leave. So it's not really a long-term solution for employment, but at least temporarily you would have something to sustain yourself. In the event that you're still alive, you can still look for another job while at least you are getting something from it. So contributions are paid to the Unemployment Insurance Fund or the South African Revenue Services, SARS. All right, and then 4.7, identify the total quality management element applied by SUSI manufacturers in each of the statements below. Okay, let's look at the statements. First one, SUSI manufacturers ensures that training programs are relevant to increase customer satisfaction. So the total quality management element applied here is continuous skills development or education and training. And you get your 2 marks for that. SM can afford to purchase quality raw materials and equipment. So the TQM element is high capacity. And then let's look at question 4.8. Advice on the impact of monitoring and evaluating quality as a total quality management element on a large business. Okay, so let's look at the points that we have here. Prevents product defects and minimizes wastage of customers, minimizes wastage or customer complaints. Remember, we are advising the business on the impact of monitoring and evaluating quality as a total quality management. Good quality checks or procedures minimize the placement, breakdown of equipment, machinery on a regular basis, may be equipped to get things done right the first time, improve performance and maintain high quality standards, improve current and future management of quality outputs, outcome or impact, provide clear indication about quality aspects that are contributing to the achievement of goals, modify inventions that may improve the efficient use of resources, and support management to acquire information needed to make informed decisions about the processes. Okay, so this is where we're gonna end our question paper. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe and share it with your friends.